10 years. That is how long I have been creating YouTube videos on this platform. And today I'm going to basically share with you guys everything that I have learned from going from a broke as a joke college student, starting a YouTube channel from my parents' house, to a 7-figure earner who runs YouTube channels on 1 day a week and is able to make 7 figures as a mom of 4 who homeschools and who has lived multiple lives on YouTube. I'm going to talk you through my biggest failures, my even greater lessons, and what I would have done differently if I could have reversed the hands of time. But if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Haley, and I basically teach content creators how to not only go viral through YouTube, but also how to take that virality and create an asset in the form of courses and coaching products that they actually own so that they can make semi-passive income through their YouTube videos and live what we like to call an integrated lifestyle, where we're able to be with our 4 kids, homeschool them, live life with them, and honestly earn from our videos throughout the whole entirety of our years here on YouTube. And so if that interests you, subscribe down below, and let's go ahead and get into lesson number 1. The first and probably most impactful thing has nothing to do with YouTube. It has more to do with your self-image and also just success as an option for your life. So years ago, I was a absolute wreck of a mother, a wife, and a full-time YouTuber. I was making around $20,000 a month on YouTube only, because since then, I know that's like crazy that I say that, but since then we've made so much more, working less and having way less stress. But it wasn't until I read this book, which I actually just found on my bookshelf for you guys. I'll link it down below. Buy it immediately. I don't care what the price is. It's cheap. But this book, Love Him or Hate Him, has changed my perception of life and also has allowed me, I really believe, through God and the Bible, to be very successful on YouTube. And that is this book. This book is called Awaken the Giant Within. It's from Tony Robbins. And there's one thing in this book that changed the game when it came to having success on YouTube. And it was this concept that kept self-sabotaging my chances of success. I would make a lot of money, then I would burn through the money. I would make a lot of money, and then I would switch niches. I would make a lot of money, and then I would say that it's too hard for me. And so my mind kept just effing me up. Okay, self-sabotage to a T. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't just be successful and maintain the success. And that was because of one thing I read in this book, which is this. So the quote is so good. I looked it up again and it just cuts me to my core. If you don't know your true values, prepare for pain. Okay, so this is the biggest, number one, hardest lesson I've ever learned in my journey of success, getting success on YouTube, whether that's going viral, making money, or having some resemblance of a work-life balance so many YouTubers claim that they have. It comes down to being crystal clear on your values. All right, so write this down, okay? If you do not align your values with your goals on YouTube, you will find a way to self-sabotage, not just through my own experience over and over and over of switching niches, getting success, like I said, and claiming that it's too hard or blaming it on my spouse. We've been very transparent on our podcast about all of our hard marriage struggles because we chose to go into business together. But it really came down to this. If we knew what our values were from a very early age, from the inception of our YouTube channels, me and my husband's, then we would have been able to accomplish our goals 10 times faster. So for instance, for those of you guys who are creating content on YouTube within some umbrella of a category, you're going to have to adhere to the algorithm somewhat, okay? You can't just sit in your bathroom, in your car, in your room, and just ramble off unless you just have the personality of Amber Chamberlain, which is like a unicorn, okay? Most people have to adhere to some level of the algorithm in order to play the YouTube game, in order to give it what it wants, which is retention and watch hours. And so in order to do that, you're going to look at all of your competitors, all of the top people within your niche, and you're going to mimic them. Okay, so certain niches require certain levels of output in terms of content. For example, so I went into the motherhood niche initially because I was a new mom. First actually was fashion, but then quickly after I became unexpectedly pregnant with my firstborn baby when we were engaged, and it was a shock to my system at 23 years old. And so I thought, I'm lonely. All my friends are partying still, so I'm going to become a YouTuber and I'm going to do motherhood and I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to create this audience. And so I started documenting my journey in motherhood. And basically, I didn't really realize what my values were. If I had asked myself seriously, Haley, what do I value the most? And I would have never known. So like hindsight's 2020, you really have no idea until you go through these hard lessons. So I regret nothing. But basically, my values now that I'm 32 years old, 10 years later, is I value time above all as a mother and a wife. So I need time, and that is my most precious commodity. It's not that I value having the hugest Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, blogging audience. It's not that I value having the most money in the bank, because I could have all the money in the bank in the world, but if I have no time with my little tiny kids that I love so much, then it's worthless. It's useless. I don't want that. And I will actually end up pushing the money away. I will see the money as bad and I will reject the money and I won't get the money. And so I'll share with you guys how that actually manifested for me, whether you believe in that or not. So going back to the niches that you're all in. So in order to play the YouTube game, you're going to be in a niche. And so for instance, the niche of motherhood or the category of motherhood requires sharing your life most likely. It requires sharing your kids. It requires, just success leaves clues, which is another thing that he talks about in the book. But depending on the niche that you're in, it requires a certain level of output to play the game of YouTube. Because yes, being a YouTuber, you're playing almost like a video game. You're going from level to level to level and you're leveling up and you're having to compete and stay relevant for views, or also get pushed behind and you'll fall back, which I have time and time again. And so in order to stay relevant and keep up with the Joneses, with the masses, with a sea of eyeballs, I have to play the game. And so that means sharing my kids, documenting day in and day out, being present on Instagram, most likely being present on YouTube, and showing the inner workings of what it looks like to be a mom. But not only that, it required me to get a mass amount of views in order to get paid. People don't understand that when you sign the dotted line for a category, niche, or anti-niche, whatever you're doing, you're still creating content within some sort of niche, even if it's like your personal brand niche. And if you look at the YouTubers that have already risen to the top, you can see how it was for them to create the content. You can kind of put the puzzle pieces together. And so I didn't realize that when I signed up to do motherhood as a category or niche, that it required me to film a lot of aspects of my life. And it pushed down the values that I hold dearest to me, which is precious time with my kids. And so every time I would make a lot of money, I would sabotage and say that it was too hard, or I would switch niches. I would try to find a different way to make money. So I never had a laser focus and I never committed fully to one given niche. So you have to ask yourself, and this is what I should have asked myself, what do I value? Where are my values? What is the line that I'm going to draw in the sand? I'm going to say, I'm not going to go here. I'm not going to cross this line. Let me give you guys an example. So I've mentioned this in other videos, but we've had a lot of people come into our YouTubepreneur coaching program throughout the years, thousands of people. And it almost always starts like this. If like someone's a mom, okay, they come in, they say, I don't really have a college degree. Not that you need one at all to make money or to create YouTube videos, but this is typically what they say. I don't have a college degree. I haven't worked in 8 years, but I have been a mom. And so what do I do best? I organize and clean. So they start like a cleaning channel, organization channel. They realize that in order to stay relevant within that category or niche of organization, cleaning, minimalism, Marie KonMari, so many of these sticky sub niches, which you should attach yourselves to. I've talked about that in other videos. If you want to watch how to go viral, pick a sticky sub niche. I'll link it up here and down below. But basically they'll go into one of these sub niches that is popping off and they will choose something like slow living, okay? Or like I said, back to cleaning, minimalism, or organization. So they'll film these organization videos, which requires them to probably not be with their toddlers or their little kids, and film for 4 hours at a time, edit for 5 or 6 more hours. So that sort of detracts from their most valuable thing in life for most moms, which is time with their family. It takes away time from their family. So they claim burnout, they claim it's not the right season of life, they claim failure, but what they didn't realize, and this is the biggest mistake I made, which I would have never known till I did it, is that I actually chose a niche that did not support my values in life. So it's super important to go into a category or niche, or building your personal brand rather, from a place where this aligns with my values. Can I meet my income goals with only working 3 hours a week, or 1 day a week? And so knowing what your values are, how much time you actually want to work on your YouTube channel, and finding a niche that supports that value and also supports the income goals that you have attached to the value will help you continue on and have the longevity. Because the biggest mistake I've ever made is switching niches and starting over. That is the first thing, is you want to align your values with your goals on YouTube and never quit, never stop. So going a little more granular into this, like aligning your values with your niche, you want to ask yourself this question, write this down and think about it with your spouse, if you have one, or by yourself, okay? If you could earn X amount of dollars in X amount of hours, how would that be possible? Would that mean that you could do it within this niche? Would that mean that you could do it on however many days you want to work a week on your YouTube channel? Would that mean that you could do it while maintaining your 8 to 5 job, or homeschooling if you homeschool school like the psychos we are. So 2 years ago, I asked myself, if I could earn 7 figures, $1 million working 1 day a week, how would it be possible? Well, this is the product that I would sell. This is the type of videos that I would create. This is the day that I would create it on. And this is how many hours it would take. And this is the price point of the product. I would need this many sales. So reverse engineering and starting with the end in mind. So the second biggest important lesson that I learned on YouTube is aligning your niche, like I sort of have already mentioned, but we're going to talk about a little bit more in detail, with your income goals once you have your values crystal clear. How much money do you want to earn per month? So this is such an important question, and it's like, it deserves its own video. I used to say $1,000 a month till I realized it's the same freaking level of work, take it from me, to earn $100,000 a month that it is to earn 1,000. Okay. You have to do some more stuff on the front end, but eventually with a slow and steady compounding effect, read that book, The Compound Effect, another huge book that helped me on my YouTube journey. But through compounding your efforts on creating videos on YouTube, you're eventually going to get to most any income goals. Maybe not $1 million a month. You need a team for that typically. But I learned that it was the same level of effort for $1,000 a month as it was for $10,000, as it was for $100,000 a month. The difference was who's been doing it longer and the skill level that you're building up to. I'm going to be very candid in this video since it's a video about my journey. So our goals are to earn consistently $100 to $200,000 per month working 1 day a week on YouTube. So before you're like, dude, shoot me, like you're crazy and I don't believe you and you're a scammer and a liar. It's the reality that we have chosen to live based off of constraints that we've put within our lifestyle. We talked about constraints in one of my last videos. Yeah, it's the hard line in the sand. Like I'm not going to like sacrifice the little years that I have with my kids. I am going to force myself to make it happen on 1 day a week. But what is that for you? And I know it's like, you would never know what's possible, right? As like a new YouTuber, you'd say it'd be nice to even just make $3,000 a month. I could quit my job. Then just start with that. You know, you don't need to shoot for crazy milestones. I've only had this, revelation within the last 2 years that I can make this money. Up until then, it was a lot of struggle. Like, can I add an extra 10K a month? Can I add an extra 1,000? So I've gone through ups and downs, and you're only going to know until you've done it yourself. And so write down your freedom number on a piece of paper and say, if I made $3,000 a month, whatever that number is for you, it would absolutely change my life. So knowing what that freedom number is, this is what we teach our students, and looking at that number, knowing that it's possible. I'm not into like woo-woo manifesty stuff necessarily and like having these numbers floating around your brain, but like you have to be aware of like what you're working towards and what that freedom number is. Then you want to ask yourself, this is the revelations that I've had, how is this going to be possible for me? And working with the end in mind. So starting backwards. So in order for me to make $100,000 to $200,000 a month, I need to sell my own products from day one. A large audience is not required of me to maintain because that will take more than 1 day a week. I sell low and high ticket digital products so that I don't need to manage a team of salespeople. Absolutely not. I'm not doing that. I want to take summers off and work 1 day a week. I also need to learn the art of influence, which I think a lot of like content creator guru, whatever you want to call us, people are. I know it's gross, but people that coach on this, they really have a hard time teaching this because it's so hard, freaking hard to teach self-awareness. And that is sort of like going with the art of influence. But knowing that I need to learn psychology in order to sell so that I can sell high ticket products without a sales team. We sell it through evergreen YouTube videos and a sales funnel that is proven to convert year after year after year. So you have to show up consistently to build this skill, build authority, and have the confidence to have that authority on camera. And the only way you do that is you study psychology and you film like 1,000 YouTube videos over and over and over and over. And so that is how I'm able to make so much money. It sounds so much easier. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But to me, it sounds easier than it really is. But you need a lot of practice. You need to sell your own products, and you need a sales funnel that sells your products when you're not physically talking to someone on Zoom. So through a series of emails and through a funnel, which we teach obviously in our program ICA. And so that's how it's possible for me. But honestly, I would have never known that if I had started this, process and asked myself these questions at like 22, which leads me to my third point. I would have never known this. I would have known this if I would have paid for mentors. So I know a lot of you guys are going to hear this and be like, she's just shilling her own stuff. I mean, yes and no. So you don't have to buy from me. I don't really care. I don't need every single one of you to buy from me to hit my goals because I've already been hitting my goals for years now and I know what's required. I don't need to shake people down to take their money from them. It doesn't work like that. You have to actually help people to make this kind of money, get testimonials, get word of mouth, get referrals. It's a whole shebang. Okay. why. I know a lot of you guys will assume the negative in me saying this part because this is what I teach. But basically the number 3 thing that I wish I would have known is if I went into debt for college, between my husband and I, we had $40,000 worth of student loan debt outside of our business degrees, which is a joke. I went for business finance. He went for marketing. Useless, truly. We met each other. So we say we made, we've spent $40,000 to meet each other. And we did the whole Dave Ramsey beans and rice to pay it off. If I would have spent that money on business mentors back when I was 19, 20, and 21 years old, I would have been a multi-millionaire by now. I didn't because I didn't know any better. And I'm going to teach my kids. That's kind of like the whole shtick for our podcast, American Dream Revival. That's what we talk about over there, raising the next generation and thinking opposite to everybody, very counterculturally. But basically, if I was willing to go into debt for college, which is not a guaranteed payout, I should do the same thing for my business. I know so many people disagree. They say debt is bad. I'm not telling you guys to get credit card debt and rack it up. But what I am saying is what I would say to my former self is, yes, Haley, pay for mentors online to tell you exactly what to do so that you would know the questions to ask yourself, so that when you sabotage yourself and you made a lot of money and spent it, or you made a lot of money and like flashed an income stream and started over a new brand and a new niche, you would have a mentor being like, stop that. Your values do not align with your goals. What do you value? And so that I wouldn't have to like fall on my face over and over and over and go through, I think probably 7 years of the YouTube grind without a mentor. And so up until now, within the last, I think 3 or probably 4 years, we spent $150,000, maybe even closer to $2,000 or $200,000. I know, kill me, on business mentors. We actually ended up doing that instead of buying our first home, which is opposite to most Americans, but it's made us millions more dollars than like the equity from a home ever would. And so, yeah, I chose to rent my home and spend on mentors telling me what to do because I wanted the fast track towards success in my life. But because of spending on mentors, we went from 0 to 7 figures within our business in under 2 years. It was like when I paid for my first online coach, I totally transformed my life and I transformed my business model. I understood more about psychology, about why I was stuck. And it was almost like a business therapist. That's kind of what coaches are. And it's well worth the money. Even if you're going to disagree, you can make the mistakes on your own, or you're still going to make mistakes, but less mistakes having someone tell you exactly what to do. So number 4 is absolutely something that I have realized, honestly, just this year. And that is you need to have a very, very clear vision of where you're going in life, not only in life, but as a business owner. So again, if you do not want to build a business that in order to scale it, you have to run and manage a team of 20 sales dudes. They're always dudes, but sometimes they're women, salespeople, and you don't want time away from your kids in that way. You don't want to have to work out of the home, then you're building the wrong business potentially. So 2 years ago, Doug and I started doing high ticket sales, and we thought that the only way you could sell high ticket, which is anything over probably $3,000 for like a coaching program. Typically, this isn't just an online course. This is like coaching as well. It's like a group coaching combo where you get a course and you get coaching. We still sell this, obviously, that's our bread and butter. But I thought that in order to sell it, you had to do sales calls. Now, there's nothing wrong with sales calls. We still do them occasionally in sprints when we feel like having the conversion go up even higher, because we were told through a lot of coaches, which again, I still learned so much from them, but that the only way to sell high ticket was through managing a sales team. And as again, a mom of now 4 kids, we had 3 at the time, I thought, oh my gosh, okay, I'll just do this. Like I'll do this. My husband, Doug, will manage the sales team. I'll do the content. We started doing that. We even looked at hiring our first sales guy, and it was like a full stop moment. Like this does not align with our values. I went back to my book, and I still obviously kept making the mistakes. You have to be taught the same thing over and over and over. Wish I didn't. But basically I said, no, I'm not doing that because I don't want the stress of managing all these employees. That takes away from my time being present as a mom. So I went back to the question, what needs to be true for me to earn 7 figures and be a full-time YouTuber and a present mom working 1 day a week? The answer to that is I have to get, like I said, really good at influencing, really good at selling on camera, having the authority, showing up consistently, and basically getting people to pay me a lot of money through a sales funnel. So we had to refine our sales funnels, and I was able to do that. Our first launch with our high ticket products through a sales funnel, no sales team, just a web page, a webinar, and a funnel with a series of emails, made $70,000 in a day. So it broke all beliefs that I ever had. Most people would say that's not possible. Any other coach out there would say you need a sales team, you need a sales team. But what you need is authority online and a cult, honestly, of raving fans, which we've been able to do with multiple different brands. And so just because someone says it has to be that way, if it doesn't align with your values, I promise you're going to find a way to self-sabotage. And also just challenge the norm for yourself because it might be worth it. People don't always know everything. Like I said in the beginning and in all my videos, if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. And that's what I wish I had known. I wish I would have been like, I want to build $1 million brand. Like, how can I do that? And you have to pour hours into researching $1 million brands and seeing how they did it. Do you want to go the physical product way? Do you want to do like Primal Kitchen? He was a YouTuber and he sold Primal Kitchen for over $100 million. Don't quote me, but it's a lot of money. And do I want to build a physical product business and get it sold by an investor? Does that sound too hard with my values? Yes, it does for me personally. Do I want to do like the FIRE, financial independence, retire early? That's more aligned with my goals. Do I want to just treat YouTube as the cash cow as it is and work really consistently, really hard 1 day a week for a decade? And so, yeah, you have to ask yourself, like, where am I going with this? Like, what is the goal? Do I want to just retire my husband? Do I want to do this as like a passion project? What level of dedication am I going to give to this channel? Now, the next one I've honestly just learned within the last 6 months. It's taken me 10 years, you guys. I could cry even thinking about it. Like, I still talk to myself like, are you kidding me? Like, it took me this long to really understand. So there's so many people that teach self-help things, psychology, therapist-y, like woo-woo manifestors out there. They all say this and I would just be like, okay, I mean, I have the identity of someone that's rich, like whatever. I have the identity of someone that like wants to earn a lot, but then I'd be like, okay, well then why am I not earning? Like, why am I not hitting these goals? If I feel like I am living and embodying the person that wants to hit these goals, like why, like where is the money? Where are the goals? Why am I a headless chicken still? Okay, so clearly I've thought these thoughts really intensely for years. And so number 5 is you need to have the identity. Now, before you're like, barf, kill me. Everyone says this, but just let me explain. You need to have the identity of being someone that is worthy of success. Being someone that isn't just worthy of success, but being someone that is successful. That needs to be your identity. So this goes back to what Tony Robbins says, you are the average of the 5 people closest to you. If you're trying to be this mega successful YouTuber and you find that you're self-sabotaging, you're not consistent, you put up a video like one time last month and you say you're going to do it, but you're not going to do it. You blame your husband for like not supporting your goals, or you blame yourself for being awkward on camera. Like, dude, there's a million victim things that you could say. Like, I'm a victim. It's not right for me, whatever. At the end of the day, you do not have the identity worthy of success. And so how do you get the identity worthy of success? Is you need to put yourself around people that think with that mindset. So the way that I did this was by getting in masterminds. It goes back to like paying for mentors, getting in masterminds of people that just leveled up. I hate that phrase. Like, I'm too old for that phrase, but really like straight up leveling up in your life. But people that act like 100K months is like no big deal. And so when you say, I want to make 100K, I'm at 60, I cannot get there like I have in the past. And they look at you like, well, why don't you just do this? Or why are you spending too much time on this? Like, it's a no-brainer. It's no big deal. You're like, oh, okay. Like, this is the norm. Making a lot of money is the norm. It's going to be so hard. You have to constantly, the Bible says, you know, if you're religious or not, I'm Christian, so I listen to the Bible and what God's word has to say, but renewing your mind with truth. It's the same thing for your business. Constantly, every single day, renewing your mind with where you're looking to go, your crystal clear vision on what is possible for you. And the best way to do that is surrounding yourself with people who have already done it and who think it's really easy and that you're the crazy one. And so, yeah, having the identity really comes down to doing a lot of the actions that give yourself that identity. So before, when I didn't have a successful YouTube channel, I didn't have the identity of being a successful business owner until I did it over and over and over and over. And filming videos is like pouring water. Filming these videos is like one of the easiest things. It's actually so much harder to homeschool literally my 7-year-old in math, whatever math she's taking right now, and even teach my 5-year-old reading. Like, that's harder to me than filming 3 videos within 3 hours, like batch filming. Like, this is physically demanding. Like, I need water right now and I'm like, my throat's dry, but mentally it's very easy for me. And so that's because I have adopted this identity by being around people that also have the identity, and also by just doing it over and over and over. But you need the identity, because if you see yourself as just a stay-at-home mom who struggles, who like has a hard time getting your videos out and has a problem with consistency, you need to start talking yourself into having that identity. So ask yourself, what does that person look like? That successful new version of you? Do they look like a slob? Do they have an unkempt house? Are they like really undisciplined, which we're going to get to in a minute, with their time? Nobody talks about that. And at the end of the day, do they do what they say they're going to do? And do they keep their word with themselves? So the sixth one I've already hinted at, but it is these twofold, okay? Time management and discipline. I came from a house that my environment growing up loved my family, still love them. My parents were my best friends and my sister, but we're all just kind of slobby, okay? I wouldn't say that we are slobs, but like my parents would clean everything at the end of the day. Like they were very disorganized, very chaotic. My dad's Portuguese, loud, just throwing things in the kitchen while cooking. We're not like very neat and tidy family. And so because of that, I was sort of always like, I was a C student, just kind of getting by, you know, didn't really make my bed every day, like Jordan Peterson says. So I didn't have the best disciplinarian habits, or however you want to say that. I didn't really understand how to really effectively manage my time. And because of that, I've had to learn such a hard lesson. You have to know that the only way you're going to be successful is if you're consistent. Everybody says that. It's so overused. You know, that phrase, be consistent on YouTube and you will be successful. How are you consistent? By being a disciplined person. If you say you're going to film 2 videos a week or 1 video, 3, whatever the number is, you better do it. How do you do that? You have to have your life in order, okay? Your kids have to be happy, because if they're screaming and if they feel neglected, then you're going to feel like a bad mom. And then, I've done this, you're going to blame your YouTube channel. You're going to be like, well, see, they're right. Like working moms, they can't have it all. Like there's no way, I'm quitting. And I've done this, okay? I've quit, started over, but it's really because I didn't have time management skills and I wasn't disciplined as a person. You have to make time for everything. The humans in your life, your kids, your husband, you have to pour into those relationships so that you have the mental bandwidth to not blame your business for your failed relationships. The 7th one is obvious, but do not quit, okay? Before you're like, I'm clicking away. I already know I don't have to quit. No. So if you have your aligned values with your goals on YouTube, if you have a clear vision of where you're going, if you have time management skills, if you have the discipline and the identity of a person that does what they say they're going to do, because of all those things, all of those magical keys, you're not going to quit. Because if you quit on YouTube, you have to, take it from me, start over again, talk yourself back into the identity of the person that's going to do what they say they're going to do, but you have to start over. You're starting over again and again and again and again. And I've done this for 10 years. And honestly, on my 10th year, really, I've realized exactly what I have to do and how to get there, because starting over has been the biggest problem that I've had because of all of these issues. And so do not quit. Know that it's better to just stick with something for the long haul, unless it's obviously derailing you and your family and like anti-values and all that stuff I mentioned. But if you have all of those things lined up, your values align with your goals, do not quit. And if you are overwhelmed, cut back the amount of videos. Do 1 video a week, or even 1 every 2 weeks if it's too much for you and your family and your lifestyle. Because it's better to just string along YouTube and have that compounding effect, like that book I recommended, than quitting and starting over a year later. So that's pretty much it for all of the lessons that I've learned. I mean, no, that's not it, but that's a lot of the core lessons I've learned. If you guys get value from this, if you resonate with anything, let me know in the comments down below. Hit the subscribe button and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.